Hello and welcome to this week's Kirk in the Cloud. I'm Kirk Ryan. I'm a principal technologist and I architect solutions in the cloud across all of the providers. And today we're going to be discussing the top tech trends and predictions for 2021 in AWS. So it's a big job to do this by yourself. So with me, I've got a great guest, Mark Twomey. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Kirk, how are you? You're looking human, which is good because I've seen so many people in video calls these days and they appear to have given up on humanity.
I think I'm just about managing human right about now. I'm almost about to fall off the cliff face of what is acceptable. And God help me when we head back to an actual place of work.
My big fear is that a bunch of us are going to end up with PTSD by the end of this when you eventually you have to go into the office and you're like, really? I have to get in public transport? I have to get in a plane? What am I going to do here? How am I going to live?
I'm going to shake your hand. Hang on. Should I alcohol gel my hand afterwards?
That will be. I think there'll be a lot of clammy hands when the handshaking starts. I think there'll be a pause to begin with. People are just going to put the hand out, and it's like, right, are you going to take it? You'll have someone on the other side go,
fist bump or shake. Yeah, it's gonna be one of the two.
It's still the elbow tap. Just
the elbow tap.
The elbow tap. Yep.
The foot tap if you're still feeling a bit more.
I think we'll come out the other side of this. It'll be fine.
I'm sure we'll get back to some semblance of normality. Hopefully.
So, it is 2021. It is not, as I was. My big joke of the new year was, it's going to be hilarious when people wake up and find it is January the 32nd. 2020 instead of being into 2021, but we are into 2021. It's a new year. As per usual, when it comes to the cloud, nothing slows down. I will say, even when you're in it, there is no eye of the hurricane where it's nice and calm in here. It's just a lot of things happening all at once. It is a case that you wonder what the cloud is now, what it's going to become. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I sometimes look at the study guides and go, the minute they print them, how are they out of date? Because there is just so much going on. Like you say, we saw reInvent and how many hundreds? A 3 week event. I mean, that was obviously that was epic. Summarizing that was wow. Okay, we had some great announcements about everything from data management, faster storage, ARM technology taking over the world, cloud, all these sort of things. And it was just like, where do I start? The layer, just getting that first layer of what is going on, it is almost becoming as much of a challenge that used to be treated to, I need to learn the level 200, 300 stuff in a way, because there is so much going on. But I suppose that's great, that rate of innovation. And I think the fact that companies are calling out and consuming this in such a faster way than they ever expected. These projects probably were planned for the next 2 years. And, since March last year, I think we're seeing that a lot of that's been adopted a lot faster than they would have originally planned, right? So,
nothing does digital transformation like a pandemic, right? So
who would have known, right?
Yeah, who would have known, right? I mean, you talk about it for years and all of a sudden it's like, congratulations, it has arrived. It's like Thanos, right? It's inevitable. It comes all the same. I'm not sure what the quote is. Fear it, dread it, hide from it, but all the same, it arrives. I've mangled that quotation, but digital transformation did arrive in 2020 and is continuing in 2021. I found it interesting. You mentioned ARM. I think I saw that start last year. It's going to continue this year. The move to that inside AWS, right? We have the Graviton family of CPUs, which are ARM-based CPUs, and I think during reInvent, we announced the C6 GNs, the instance family, just pulling that, the C6GNs, you're talking 40% better price performance than x86 workloads, and just absolutely network bandwidth like 100 gigabits per second, right? Network bandwidth, 38, I think it's 38 gigabits per second for EBS. And why is this? HPC customers love this stuff, right? Because of the performance per watt that you're getting in comparison to x86. The network throughput is just aiming this at HPC customers. So you're talking HPC video processing, things like that. There was a lot of stuff with the first gen M1 Macintosh where people were especially the Mac Mini, where they're going, look at the power in this thing. And I see we're finally seeing ARM, mobile, what was once just a mobile architecture, scaling to all these different workloads now. So you're talking from your phone to your tablet to your Mac Mini, eventually to your, probably, I'm guessing, eventually to your iMac. And we also have it right up on the server side as well, doing HPC workloads. It's been a heck of a journey for ARM when you consider there was, in the olden days, the war between CISC, complex instruction set architectures, and RISC, right, reduced instruction set architectures. Now, over time, especially you look at Intel cribbed a lot of RISC ideas. So you can't really say that a modern x86 CPU is a CISC design, because that's no longer the case. They're much more of a hybrid. But we are seeing that ARM architecture, and particularly its substantiation as Graviton 2 in AWS, just hammering these workloads where previously it wouldn't have stood a chance. I mean, this was the thing for your phone, it was for your tablet, and now it's doing genomics, it's doing exploration, electronic design work. It's just an amazing leap forward, and that started in 2020 and it's going to continue this year. So one of my predictions is the shift to ARM, the domino has fallen, and now it's just, the effect is going to knock through a whole bunch of other industries. And the gauntlet has been thrown down to the existing providers. We saw my old boss in a previous life, Pat Gelsinger, or Golf Swinger, as Scott McNeely over at Sun used to call him, Golf Swinger. But Gelsinger's gone back to Intel, and he has a job of work to do. Intel is quite an important provider to the technology industry, but Pat has, he has real work to do. He has AMD on one side, he has ARM on the other, and it's time to see what he can do by dusting off the innovation engine over there.
I mean, it's a great place to be as a consumer, really, of that technology, because that sort of competitiveness now is something that we can only all just benefit from. And I'm seeing people picking up workloads from other providers, taking Graviton for a spin and going, wow, I'm getting more operations. It's okay, they don't see that it's running cooler and all these other things that are reflected in the price point, right? So it's easier to operate. It's much easier with things like containerization. I know I can build an image and I just specify a build X flag, and it builds it for the AMD 64 architecture, and then there's my ARM architecture. It's just spun that out as well. And because modern applications tend to be like either containerized or something like that as well, you start to see this is really easy for me to actually, I don't even have to re-architect. It's just, I just build it differently and I can put it there and just look at that. And I've seen, one of the cyclists that I regularly follow on Twitter, he's a CTO, and he is just like, wow, I'd never imagined a day where as a .NET developer, I can run all my stuff in Graviton. And he's just going, this is just phenomenal how I'm able to do this, and it's the best place right now for it. I'm like, what?
There's a gap in the market, and the gap you could put an oil tanker through. That's how that's what the gap. It isn't a small gap; it's a large gap in the market. You could put an oil tanker through, and we plan on expanding that, opening up that market, and we're doing it with Graviton. There's a lot of work. So the Amazon internal silicon teams, they're doing the people that brought us Nitro, the Nitro accelerator cards that brought us Graviton. I'm sure they're working on much more things that if I even speculate, I'll be hit by a tranquilizer dart and dragged out of here and dumped in the island like something out of The Prisoner. But it is the case that I just think that it's going to be big this year. people are looking at it. If you're not looking at it, look at it. Look at it now. Now is the time, especially if you're a thought leader, you should have been looking at it last year. If you're someone who does real work, you'll probably be looking at it this year. Now, I hate when people call themselves thought leaders, because what does that even mean? But just if you haven't looked at Graviton, it's something that people put in LinkedIn, and I look at these people sometimes and I think you're a fraud. But the idea here is that you should be looking at, if you haven't looked at it already, look at Graviton, see if your workloads can move there, and if they can, save yourself some money.
Yeah, I mean, go faster for less cost, or do more for the same cost is the other thing.
Exactly. So, do more for the same price. Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I think, like you say, we're witnessing a revolution here, not just in cloud technology. You know, this is your own silicon. Just to really hit home on that point, this is you know, your own investments. You're bearing the fruit of your research and everything here, and customers are just benefiting from. You know, I wouldn't even speculate a number of how much has probably gone into researching and development of this. But, you know, as a customer, to get all the benefits of that and then still have it in a cloud consumption model where you're paying, you know, by what, the minute or second, I don't even know what that's billed at now. It's just phenomenal.
I see my invoice for my internal account at the end of the month, and sometimes I realize I may end up having a conversation with someone up the ladder if this continues. So I better start turning things off. But that's like, I'm doing some lab work, and then it's like, did I remember to turn that off? Oh dear. Billing alerts. I'm a big fan of billing alerts. It's like billing alert for work and billing alert for home when you're learning. I did, and I've repeated this story. I have tested. Okay, I'm going to do RDS with replicas across availability zones, and then I forget to turn it off and I walk away, but I get the billing alert that have said you've broken an alarm, and I go sprinting back to the console to clean up. So my friends, billing alerts, do them at home and do them in the job.
You heard it here, folks. Top trend for 2021.
billing
alerts. Yeah. So that moves us on nicely to new architectures, new ways of doing things and stuff. And then what's the next sort of trend you see around? You know, that's compute. What about sort of database, things like that? What are you seeing around that space?
Databases is the idea of database as a service, right? We've long had that with Dynamo, key value store, DynamoDB. But the issue is, what about OLTP? Why are you still paying your database provider whatever amount of money that you're paying them? So Aurora version 2 serverless is in, I think it's in preview. It might be out of preview. It's in preview at the moment. But you're talking about just paying what you consume for databases with performance. So all these things. I mean, you don't need to provision like extra for peak workloads. You can auto scale it up, auto scale it down, manage database capacity, and reduce the cost. I mean, an awful lot of what you're paying for with some database licensing is almost like to prevent them from auditing you. Well, we don't have that problem, right? We know exactly what you're running, and you will too. There's no case where you can be turned into a profit center just because someone deployed a piece of software somewhere that maybe you were not, the terms of your agreement say not to. But I do think the idea that you can have these fine-grained adjustments to your databases, how you use them, how you deploy them, that's a major change. The database market is massive. It's hugely revenue generating for the established providers. I think it's important there if you deliver value for customers, you can convert a lot of that cash into something that customers can spend on different things. So serverless online transaction processing databases using Aurora with these fine-grained increments that can go up and down, pay for what you use. You have AWS support sitting behind you, and you don't have to worry about, oh God, here comes some sales rep in the door saying it's time for you to either upgrade to the latest version or I will charge you a massive whack in support. We know all the tricks. Any of us who've worked in enterprise IT for a long time. Now is the time to tell these people with their tricks, not today, Satan. It's like, not today.
Oh man, I love that. And to be honest, it's like I can see this from another point of view because you know, changing how everyone seems to have like 2 or 3 different jobs these days. So if I change hats to, hey, look, by the way, I'm also a startup CTO, and my startup's entirely built in AWS, that's attractive to me, because it's like, oh, I only got to pay for what I use. That's really easy to budget, because if I grow, I'm probably earning revenue, so that's okay. I can scale that way. So that's brilliant. I'll definitely be giving that a go, because heavy DynamoDB user, absolutely, and looking into other things right now as well. Which kind of leads me to the next point, right? So some of these data is everywhere, but sometimes the competitive edge of what people can get is how fast they can deal with that data, or analyze it, or sometimes milliseconds can be a millions in revenue opportunity versus someone else. I'm thinking like stock traders. I've been on projects like that where every millisecond, even microsecond, counts.
Yep.
So big changes that we heard around storage as a whole. So what do you think around that?
I think the move to something like IO2 and IO2 Block Express, which is built on top of IO2, the idea, it's zoom, right? That's what we're looking to do, get faster. In the case of IO2 volumes, 500 IOPs per gig, with scaling up to, I believe, is 64,000. You'll probably correct me in that one. It's when right. someone will just come into frame and go, anyway, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing this of my own free will. Yeah, it's like I don't need a rescue. But the the idea of doing that, just getting faster. I mean, even you talk about the Block Express. I think the durability, you're talking 5 nines in durability with Block Express, like that SAN offering. But the thing is that you're just driving the price down as well when it comes to what you're paying for peak IOPS. I mean, what the reduction is there. But we all know the faster the storage can be the bottleneck. The idea is how quickly can we narrow that? Can we close that gap, smooth that curve? And you see things like IO2 and IO2 Block Express coming into to do that. So I do think that GP3 will probably volumes will have the largest impact for customers, because I think that will just be the default that they'll now reach for when they're deploying instances. But I think when you're looking for the zoom, it is going to be the IO2 and IO2 Block Express is going to do that. And I think as well, especially for offerings such as offerings from NetApp, I think just that additional performance on top of the data management functionality that NetApp offers is going to be transformative for some customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the beauties of when you've got a solution that can take advantage of all the research developments and performance enhancements that are happening in the stack of AWS, and add some of the management functionality across the top that some customers would like around replication and other bits and pieces, especially in a hybrid architecture. It's win-win for everyone. You make faster drives, we can go faster. So it's a really
amazing.
Simple.
It's it's like if I can give you an R5B instance that can generate an awful lot of traffic and have network bandwidth. Oh, maybe we can use that to do something. Maybe you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see, who knows, exploring ARM architectures and things like that. Let's see where all that goes. That's the great thing about being a software data management piece, is that you can pretty much go wherever you want.
Do we have an exclusive? No, I won't. No. I won't chime in on that one. Well, let's not open that one.
Oh, I got the shepherd's hook is pulling me off the screen.
It's the usual thing. My view when it comes to roadmaps is that after I see one, I instantly attempt to forget, because it is less dangerous to your career overall. People always want to know things. My view is that if I've selectively forgotten, everyone's safe. So everyone's safe.
Yeah, including our careers. Yeah.
I think awesome. I remember years ago, I won't say the product, I accidentally pre-announced a product online. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's out. And it was like, no, they had delayed the launch announcement by like a month. And I thought it'd come out the week before. So I was, and people were like, whoa, that's and I never, now this was about 12 years ago. No, it was more than 12 years ago. It could have been 15 years ago. And I never made that mistake ever again, because you just, when you take your verbal beating, right, from the people involved, what are you? There's no defense, right? You just take it. It's one of those things where you go, I'm going to take a hit here. Hopefully it won't be fatal. Let's get this over with. Thank you very much.
Please forgive me.
Yeah, it's like yes, I apologize. Go on, take your whack, and let's get on with our lives. And the product, and this was 15 years ago, long before AWS, but the product was an absolute failure anyway. So the way I see it, I helped it out. I was big up in it when no one else cared. But
you could have saved them loads. You said, look, no one wants it.
Yeah, exactly. Could have come back and went, no one wants this. Don't bother. Like,
I've done your market research for you. You should be thanking me.
Yeah, well, one of your market research person said they were wrong. So here's the
truth. Oh, amazing. Oh, cool. So I suppose that market research and stuff is just, so something that we accidentally fall into sometimes. I know I've come very close. In fact, sometimes I've mentioned something and gone, oh, I'm glad that didn't have a name.
Yeah. Or you realize you're presenting and you've a train of thought and it's following on to its logical conclusion, and you realize where this stops is going to be where you don't want to go. So then you have to have the awkward redirect, because it's like, and then you go, oh no, we're getting into wrong ground here. I need to stop this. What am I going to do?
I just need to remind you that this might be under NDA. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've got new architectures, serverless database, performance storage. I suppose the natural question then is, how do we get there? You know, a lot of this stuff might already be on-prem in another cloud provider. What do we have to do that?
With blocks are blocks. You move them the way you'd move anything. But if you're dealing with file data, your two traditional your traditional option tends to be two traditional options: rsync or robocopy tend to be the two, depending where you're going. That's how you're doing your business. AWS does have a product that is just getting more and more use as time goes on. It is a data sync, right? So a data sync typically was deployed on premises with an agent, which is a virtual machine instance, and that does the data movement. It does WAN optimization. It does all these things that you need to do to get the data up for your online migration. But now we have that as a fully managed service inside of AWS. So if you're moving data around inside of AWS, you used to have to deploy the agent, which is an instance, to do the job. Now it's a fully managed service. You don't need to do that. Now you might want to deploy the agent on premises to get your data in, but or not, depends on how good your network links are. But what you can do with these fully managed services, instead of deploying that out, do I have this configured correctly? Do I have the right instance size? Do I have the right CPU? Don't worry about it. Just point the button. Is it SMB? Is it NFS? Are you writing to object storage? Click and let it rip and move that data. So, and that's what you're looking to do. Get the data moving around where it needs to be.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, there's an overarching trend across almost everything that we mentioned, which is either as a service or really a message of you're not incurring any technical debt anymore on these point solutions. And before, if you're moving to a new architecture, you'd have to think about that architecture. How are you going to run it? How are you going to monitor all that stuff? It looks like, with Graviton, that's all just native API, native being monitored. You can set your alerts, set your billing alerts. Make sure you set your billing alerts as well.
Set your billing alerts.
Then with serverless database, you've got, the fact that quite frankly, to be quite blunt, I don't really have to care about running or my team running that service anymore. Plus, from a security perspective, I get all the benefit of the millions and millions and millions of euros, pounds, dollars, whoever's watching.
US dollars, being invested. It's like it's going to be whatever. It's going to be millions of currency. So
yeah, and that's more than I could ever spend on my own security team. So I'll take advantage of that.
Your MS Access database deployed on your old desktop Windows machine is going to be as secure as anything in the cloud. No, it's not. No.
No. So yeah, definitely as a service, as an overarching trend for me, I just see a lot more of that.
It is the interesting thing about security, where we have the concept of shared responsibility. I mean, keeping the infrastructure secure is our job. But like, if you have things open to the world and you're allowing any sucker out there to jump in to connect via RDP, come on, right? It's like, come on, lock things down, right? Please,
Yes.
right? There's an interesting thing, especially, and again, I'm focusing on the folks who are working at home rather than because you possibly have a security team at work. You can go into the security group and say, only allow from my IP, right, to make these types of connections. Do that. Please do that. Right? It's please do that. And now, since we've all been locked in as well, one thing I want to talk about is certification, because I'm going through bits and pieces myself. And if you have time, and now I know people don't have time between work and family, right? It feels like I have less time these days, right? It feels like I have less time, even though I'm traveling less. But it feels like, and there's no longer the cathedral-like solitude of on an airplane with noise-canceling headphones. Where you're just like, clunk. It's like, yes, I have people next to me who are sweating. One of them might be flatulent, but nonetheless, I have the cathedral-like time to think if I have the headphones on. We don't have that anymore. If there isn't someone running around your house, you have a neighbor out the back with a jackhammer because they're finally doing that patio that they always wanted. Or you have some delivery person, and we need you, we do, and we thank you. But there's like, bing, at the most inappropriate time, bing bong. It's like, okay, I need to now. I placed the order. Now I have to deal with the consequence of actually, like, excuse me a moment. But what I will say around certification is, I know a lot of people doing certification at the moment. So whatever way is best for you to learn. And there is a pro tip. The AWS practice exams, the official AWS practice exam, get that, do that. Pretty accurate to how you'll do on the real test. So
brilliant. I'll tell you what, we'll grab the
they'll change that, and that'll be the end of that. I've ruined it for everyone.
Mark's told everyone our secret, but change it.
It's only an official practice test. Yeah.
Well, we'll try find a link and we'll pop it in the description for anyone. So it should be at the bottom of your screen if you're watching. So that'll be great. Cool. So yeah, those are some brilliant trends. I think everyone here would probably see this thing happening. I think they're top areas to go and have a look at, explore, research, because all of them just add value. In every single way, shape, or form. They're not just tech for this tech's sake. They bring inherent value to your organization. Whether you're doing things faster, simpler. I always say keep it simple. Every architecture, the simpler the better. And it just seems like, it's getting easier and easier to do that. But it does require still, as you say, a good understanding of, well, what is there? Why do you need it in the first place? What are you trying to do?
You want to make it easy to get real work done, but you don't want to make it easy to get the wrong work done.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's right.
And folks, don't keep your S3 buckets closed. For God's sake, people, come on, keep it private. Yeah, I'm just. It's just like Uncle Fun shows up to admonish you and all the things you should be doing with your AWS account. But it's just as I explain. Literally, people on the street, if they say, "Oh yeah, AWS, I do that," it's like you grab them, not recently, and you say, "Lock it down to your IP. Don't open. Keep those buckets closed." Right?
Yes.
Use pre-signed URLs for upload. Use pre-signed URLs for upload and download. Secure pre-signed URLs.
That's it. Top tip again. So, and billing. Make sure billing.
Billing alerts. For God's sake, if you're operating at home, don't do what I know. Well, I had a billing alert, so it saved me. But I can't imagine if I had no billing alert set up and I had a multi-availability zone with numerous replicas, RDS database that was just burning CPU, and I'd wandered off to do something else. So that billing alert got me back to my personal AWS account to shut that down. But yeah.
I've had that a few times myself. And the mobile app's brilliant, by the way, for the billing as well. So if you've not tried that, honestly, there's the AWS mobile app, shows you your billing. Quite handy. So, Mark.
Yeah.
Awesome catching up as always. I'm sure we'll have some exciting things to discuss as the year goes on, not giving anything away. NDA people that may be watching, I haven't mentioned a thing. But
I have no idea what you're talking about, but we'll talk anyway. So this is interesting when Kirk shows up with his box of surprises. Hey, I have a box of surprises.
I can see compliance always watching my videos like, what's he gonna say? Brilliant. But Mark, obviously great to chat. I'd love to, for anyone watching, where can they find you?
At StorageZilla on Twitter. You probably will be disappointed by my Twitter account. I don't care. Right? It's like, that's what it comes down to. It's up there. It's for me. It's not for you. If you choose to follow along, that's great. But but the thing is that, especially with the whole Twitter thing now that they're on about people, you can have super followers. Where like Patreon, you can have like, there's no one on Twitter I'm going to pay to follow. Are you out of your mind? That's not going to happen. I did complain on Twitter. Recently I signed up for someone's Substack. It was 50% off. I read a couple of their pieces and I was like, I want my 50% back, you know. so I'm not going to pay for anyone on Twitter, but you can follow me on Twitter for free and be disappointed at zero cost.
You can't be disappointed if you promise nothing.
Exactly. If you promise nothing and you consistently deliver, that's a good time.
and if you find one thing useful, I've over-delivered by 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting free stuff. I'll have to figure out how to charge for that. Become a super follower.
So on that note, if you'd love to be a super follower and be consistently disappointed, then hit the subscribe button below.
Subscribe below to feel like you've thrown your money into a hole.
That's it. Come and join us whenever you want to just hear cloud disappointment.
Well, we don't want it. No one wants to be the cloud disappointment guy. You want to be the cloud optimism guy. Well, no, you want to be the cloud deliver real results guy, because the cloud optimism, the cloud optimism guy is on that bloody trough of disappointment. You know, when the new technologies, this is going to be amazing. Oh my God, everything sucks. Hey, it's okay. You know, you want to be the guy cloud delivering results person. That's what you want.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. So. Just like to say, Mark, awesome as usual. Always have a good laugh doing these. For anyone watching, you can tell, totally unscripted. Have no idea what we're going to talk about. Loose idea what we're going to talk about.
Not really.
I hope for anyone watching, hope you've really enjoyed it. We'll do this again soon. And it's a big thank you from myself, Mark. Pleasure as always. And hopefully see you all in the next video. So thanks, everyone.
Be safe, folks. Bye-bye.